We've been pointing out the fact that it's October a lot lately. You know what happens in October?
Fall. Fall
Fall.
starts with the beautiful tree colors.
Yeah. And there's a sport that's just coming to an end. And yes, I know you're going to say fishing, but there's another sport that's coming to an end also.
You guys, you came to an end a while ago. So
Yeah.
it is. It's the end of baseball season.
Yeah. I remember that movie about, I think it was called A League of Our Own with the women baseball players.
Yes, I love that movie.
It was a great movie. And Tom Hanks said, "There's no crying in baseball." Well, there might not be crying in baseball, but sometimes there's an awful lot of crying in bass fishing.
Really? That seems a bit incongruent with the perception of fishermen. I don't really
Big
picture
tough
them
guys.
Right. I don't really picture them crying.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna explain why when we come back.
Okay.
Stick with us, folks. Welcome to Mark Fisher Outdoors. I'm Mark Fisher.
And I'm Megan Fuller. So, Mark, you have these big, burly, tough guys, fishermen, who are out there every day, bracing everything.
And they're up crying like babies up on stage when they win, huh?
Right.
I'm going to explain why that happens or why I think that happens. And I think when I get done explaining it, it's going to make all the sense in the world. But before we get to that, I do want to remind everybody we really appreciate the subscriptions that have been coming in, and we appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel in this very short month of time that we've been doing this. And we say thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Our numbers are going up really fast.
And that's great. One of the ways that you could help us moving forward is, now that you've subscribed, if you got a buddy that you think would like the content that we're putting out, do us a favor and share that with them. Pick that one guy that you think, oh man, they might like that Mark Fisher Outdoors channel, and share that with them. And let's see if we can't bring them along and have them be a part of the community here. So we'd really appreciate that if you could help us along with that. So let me get to answering your question. Why do grown men who fish for bass end up crying like little girls when they're up on stage after they won? Well, I think what people have to realize is that these big tough guys, as you put it, have to deal with things that I don't think very many people put it all together. Take any tournament, every tournament.
Okay.
The number one thing first off is that every one of these anglers that fishes, 150 guys that are out there, say for example on the invitationals, every one of them is driving somewhere away from home. We're putting more miles, driving miles, just to get to a tournament than most people drive in an entire year. And we're doing that for each event that we go to. That's driving. Once you get there, you're in an entirely different town than you're used to. Granted, we might have been to that town the year before, but everything that we're going to do for the next year, we got to figure it out on the fly. Where's the grocery store? Where's the gas station? Where's the lake? Where's the launch ramp? Where's the launch ramp closer to where I want to fish? All of this stuff is stuff that we have to get intel on either before or during the tournament period of time. We are in unfamiliar territory. Okay. We got to navigate through all of that stuff. How do you, when you go to a strange town, there's an excitement around that, but isn't there also a little bit of a, gee, I don't know where things are?
Oh, absolutely. I hate the feeling of not knowing my surroundings and having to hopefully pick all the right things, but knowing that you could definitely be picking them wrong.
Absolutely. And that's if everything goes right.
Right.
If you get a flat tire, if you got a problem with the boat, if you got to find a marina, it's hard to find a marina in my hometown, especially one that can take care of my boat today so
Right.
that I can get back on the water tomorrow. Now try and do it in a strange town that you don't even know if there is a marina.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So all of those things are very difficult. But quite honestly, those are the easy things.
Okay.
The other part of this is that we're away from family. I mean, we're away from the people that we love, most of us. There are guys who have kind of avoided that obstacle by traveling with their spouses, with their families. But those guys are pretty few.
Right.
So we're away from our family, but we're not only just away from our family, we're away from our family regardless of what's going on at the time with our family. It's a birthday for my son. It's our wedding anniversary. It's my mom is in the hospital.
Right.
These are things that regardless of what's going on with the family, I can name. I've missed Mother's Day. I've missed football games. I know guys who've missed anniversaries, who've missed birthdays, missed graduations, all because this is our job and we're out there doing it. And that means when they set up the tournament schedule, they don't put a call out to us ahead of time and
Right.
say, hey guys, is this week okay for everybody? And when that schedule comes out and you realize that that schedule conflicts with little Johnny's graduation, you don't not go to the tournament, or you have to deal with that conflict.
So it sounds very lonely, and even then, when you guys are doing the weigh-ins and all of that, just like you're away from your family is away from you, and so you're doing all these things by yourself.
And a lot of guys have developed bonds. I'll tell you that this is a sport on the contrary of that. You could be competing against somebody and just want to bash their brains in terms of catching more fish than they did. But boy, you're driving back with 5 minutes left to go before you got to check in, and you see that guy floating out in the water because his motor won't start. I know darn well every one of those 149 other guys will swing by and go, Mark, do you need a hand? Do you need a lift in? They'll do it. And I would do it for them.
Right.
Because as much as we are competing, we are also a brotherhood, and we'll help each other out. It is one of the few sports that I'm aware of where it is absolutely I want to win, and yet if there's a competitor who needs a hand, you're there to help them. I firmly believe that about bass fishing more than any other sport around. But it goes to what I'm about to get to. So you've got that missing family. For some guys, you're not only missing family, but you might be missing a job that's paying your underlying salary so that you can go out and be able to fish. There's a lot of guys who have a company that they run, or they
Right.
or they have a job that is their quote real job while they're trying to make a living bass fishing. And that brings up the financial pressures. There's a ton of guys who are out and they're fishing for that paycheck. They've given up their job and they are now fishing to make a paycheck, to make a living, to pay the mortgage, to pay for their family's food. And boy, if they're not doing well during practice, they realize that not getting a paycheck during that event might be a financial hardship for the family. So they've got all of these things going on. And then we look at the game that we play. You talked about baseball. Baseball, I love baseball. I love the sport of baseball. Baseball's a sport where if you are hitting 300, in other words, you're getting 3 hits for every 10 times you come to the plate. Right. You are a Hall of Famer. You are great.
Right.
You're batting 300. or 30%. That means you get a hit 30% of the time. And you are great, like the best in the game.
Okay.
Kevin Van Dam is the best in bass fishing, was the best in bass fishing. He recently retired. Kevin Van Dam won 25 events in his career that spanned 314 events. 25 out of 314. His winning percentage was .078. That's his winning percentage. Now compare that to baseball. Baseball is a sport where you lose or you fail 70% of the time and you're still great. In fishing, you don't even succeed 10% of the time. That's the sport of fishing. The success rate is so low, and you're playing a game. I heard this analogy. You're out there trying to solve a puzzle. And we all love puzzles, and we all love trying to figure it out. But this puzzle, the pieces change day to day. So, I figured out how to put this piece inside of this piece. And tomorrow I'm going to go do the same thing, except now this piece looks like this, and this piece looks like that, and they don't go together anymore. And the puzzle keeps changing, and that's the game that we play. And it doesn't matter what the weather is.
Right.
We talk about it's a beautiful day to go fishing, great. But tomorrow when it's 30 degrees and sleeting, we still fish.
Still have to go fish.
And the next day when it's 105 at 6 o'clock in the morning, we still have to go fish. There isn't any, I'm just going to take the day off because it's not convenient, and we do that. Now you finally get to a guy who goes through the whole thing. He practices for 3 days, unlocks this key, goes into the tournament, ends up fishing for 3 or 4 days during the tournament, is successful, more successful than the other 149 guys that he's competing against, ends up winning. And when he's standing on that stage and that announcer indicates that he's won, all of these things that I've just talked about today are going through his mind. Everything that we just talked about and everything that he's just experienced. I got to be honest, I don't know how you don't cry when you're up on stage after all of those things.
Yeah, when you explain it that way, it makes more sense now.
There might not be crying in baseball, but I think there's a good reason for the fact that there's some crying in bass fishing. Hope this gave a little perspective, everybody. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.
Bye.